In the woods where the tall trees sway, Rich Dangu Park used his motor home, ready to play. With his paintbrush in his hand and his heart so free, he found inspiration in nature's harmony. Inside his humble abode, colors come alive on canvas. He paints, pressing all his strive with the spirits of the woods. He dances in the light, creating masterpieces every single night. Although he's living off the grid, he doesn't mind. With his art fueling his soul, his happiness he finds, surrounded by the peace, the birds and the breeze. His motor home in the woods where creativity sees.
Hello, my people. Man, I love that song. Though he's living off the grid, he doesn't mind. Ah, Jeb. Hey, guess what time it is? It's time to travel with Carl. You know what week this is? It's week number 8, baby. Remember, I promised that I would have a painting today. For once, it's week number 8. I don't know how many weeks I've been letting you down, but I finally got this one done on time. I still owe you a few paintings. I'll get them in next week. Maybe we'll do a review and go through, the whole, all 8 of them. Just show them real quick. Try and sell some of these babies. Got my printer working. I got ink this week. I've got an Epson printer, so I can do my limited edition prints at home. Archival quality paper, archival ink, signed and numbered. I think I'm going to do 25 of each one. I just got some nice Epson matte paper. It's looking pretty good. I tested it out a little bit. $100 a pop, signed and numbered. That's what I'm going to do them for. I think I'm going to do the originals for $500, even though they're small. They're going to be worth money. There's only 52 of them, and each one is one of my jobs. So, let's see. Do I want to just jump right into this? I do. Today I'm just going to jump right into job number 8. You know what? I went over my time last week. I was way off time. I want to try to keep the whole thing at 30 minutes or less. Okay, I was like 40 minutes, I think, counting the introduction and the end of the song and all of that. Going to add some links this time because there's a link that I'm not going to spill it right now, but there's a link that I definitely want you to have because something happened this week to me that I still can't quite get over it. It started on Monday, and it was a done deal by what's today? Today is Saturday. It was a done deal by Thursday. Yeah, for sure. It was a done deal by Wednesday or Thursday. Happened really fast. Okay, so we were talking about welding. I was talking about the iron shop last week. After I left the iron shop, I used to hang out with a bunch of bikers. They weren't like in Hell's Angels or although once in a while I do remember once in a while there would be somebody there wearing pagans colors. This was on the East Coast, so we're still back in Pennsylvania, in Westchester, Pennsylvania, but my grandfather during the Depression, he had a contracting business, had a bunch of carpenters and stuff, and they would buy houses and fix them up. And when they didn't have any work, my granddad would have them work on his houses. So when he passed away, he had about 13 houses. It's unbelievable. And excuse me, one of the ones that he rented was right across the street from my parents' house. And my friend and his wife, Mark and Kathy Wilson, hey guys, hope you're watching, they rented that, and Mark always had a nice Harley and had a bunch of friends that would come ride over there. And, you know, if you looked at today, you know, I was drinking, hanging out with them. I was still in high school, way underage. A bunch of bikers there, you know, like 10, 15 years older than me. Probably most of them were 10 years older than me. Early 30s, late 20s. But anyway, I was accepted there because I was a good friend with Mark, and my parents were friends with his whole family, and he had a bunch of sisters that I knew. And anyway, I digress. But hanging out over there, and one of the guys worked at Exton Now I have here Exton Transit Repair, but I'm pretty sure the correct name of the business was Exton Transport Repair. And it was a union shop, and I was bitching and moaning about the iron shop, and he said, "Oh, you should come over here." And he was the foreman, and yeah, he goes, "It's hard to find TIG welders." And sure enough, long story short, I went over there, I got hired, and my first union job working with the United Steelworkers Union. I remember that he carried a gun when he, you know, not just around town, but while he was at work, he still was carrying a gun. And it was a rough and tumble place, and we used to go out and party at these you know, crazy bars after work that, you know, it's almost always somebody got into some sort of an altercation. But anyway, yeah, so that was a pretty interesting job. You know, tractor trailers, call them tank trailers, they haul everything from milk to gasoline to other chemicals, and they look like a giant thermos on wheels. And basically, that's what they are. And some of them do have refrigeration. Most times they're just hauling straight up different liquids. And like gasoline's got to be made out of aluminum, so there's no chance of a spark. Most of them, they're stainless. Of course, if it was a milk or any kind of a food product, it's all anything consumable by human beings, it's got to be stainless. And some things were regular mild steel because that's the cheapest. But these things, just like, you know, you see cars get in accidents, these tractor trailers get in accidents too, and they get these things smashed up against the guardrail or other trucks or, you know, bridges, and they get big gaping holes in them. So, you know, you got to go inside of these things. They're all pressure, you know, steam cleaned and everything before we worked on them, but you got to go inside of these things and bang out the dents with big sledgehammers, and depending on what it was or what kind of damage it was, but usually something like that. And then you're going to weld in some new metal, and then it has to be die checked to make sure it's not going to leak. So when you're all done, you spray the outside with this white paint over the weld, and on the inside you spray it with this red dye, and it will penetrate even the smallest porosity in the metal. And if you see any red on the outside, you got to grind that out and re-weld that area so that it's 100% leak proof. But yeah, you go down inside of these things, and you have to take a ladder inside through the hole on the top. It's like a manhole on the top where they close the lid, and got drop cords, so you've got some lights down in there, you've got compressed hoses of compressed air, you've got your whole welding rig down in there, you've got grinders, all kinds of equipment down in there with you, and you're wearing a respirator so you don't breathe in this stuff, safety glasses, leathers, so you don't burn yourself up. And yeah, it's just crazy, man. One of the first times I went down inside one of them, the guy goes, listen to this. He goes, take your earphones off. He goes, now I'm only going to hit it once, but you got to hear this. And he hit the side of this thing with a sledgehammer, and it sounded just like it was like a helicopter inside. It's only really loud. I was like, wow, that is fucking cool, man. Anyway, I ended up, I think I was making 10 or 11 bucks an hour there, maybe more. I think that was right, because that's probably I don't remember how long I was on probation or whatever before the union started kicking in, but I remember paying union dues right away. So I think I got a pretty good bump once the union was all, I forget how many months it was. So it might have been making more like 14 or 15. But it was a lot more than I was making. Definitely, again, most money I've ever made in my life. I did this again, like the story I had when I was in grad school. I've been working on this for a while because I knew it was going to take a long time to do it. But I hadn't even thought about the YouTube part of it yet. But it just dovetailed so perfectly that it's like 52 episodes, 52 stories, the book, 52 paintings, 52 short stories. But I was dictating these stories, and I didn't dictate all of them. Some of them I don't have anything written down at all yet. I just know all the jobs, and I've got them in order. Like I said, that timeline was, putting the timeline together was, that had to be the first step. But I remember after reading this that one of the things that I did there one day, you never knew what you were going to do, until you went to work that day. And one day I get there and they say, we got this truck outside. We're just going to have you and this other dude go out there with cutting torches and just cut it up into, like pieces, like chunks of metal like this big. So big enough, not so big that you can't pick them up by yourself. And we're going to throw them in this dump truck that we're going to bring along, park right alongside the trailer. You guys just chop it up and have fun out there and don't burn yourself. So basically we just started at one end and worked our way back towards the middle and just cut this thing up into pieces. But it had radioactive signs on the side of it. And the whole day my friend and I were joking about, well, before we even started joking about it, I went right inside. I said, like, hey, what was this thing hauling, man? Like, I don't want to be getting myself like radiation poisoning. And he assured me that they checked it with the Geiger counters and all that, and it was like a really low, like hospital kind of grade radiation stuff, like from nuclear medicine, like when they give you injections of radioactive dye. It's probably stuff like that. I'm not sure. I'll never know. But I don't click when I go near a Geiger counter, so I think I'm okay. But we were a little uneasy about that for the first few hours of chopping this thing up. But can't remember exactly when I left or how long I was there. But what I do remember is the reason I left was I had a chance to go to this place called ARTEC, and they actually art was part of the name, like ARTEC, and they actually fabricated stuff, everything from sinks to bumpers for tractor trailers, custom made bumpers, all kinds of one-of-a-kind cool stuff. And although there was a couple things that we did that were production later on, but I knew that I was going to learn more tricks, and I did, working with sheet metal. And so that I remember that's why I left. There wasn't any bad feelings or bad vibes with Exton Transport Repair. It was just this, again, it was all about art, not about a job, right? It was to eventually to get to the major leagues, right? That was the goal. And all the things I was learning along the way, like you'll see some of these jobs had absolutely nothing to do with art. They just paid my bills. But sometimes, like a couple of these early ones, they had a lot to do with sculpture and my ability to work with metals. Are you ready for the painting? All right, check it out. So there's 3 tractor trailers side by side inside the garage. You can see the windows there. It had big glass bay windows on one side and a concrete floor, of course, because these things were really heavy. But they backed them in and then took the truck off it and closed the garage door, and they just gave you one and told you to go start working on it. So this middle one there, I'm down inside. There's my ladder. So it's like a dotted line, like, you know, like inside of a drawing when you're inside of something that you can't really see. Because I never had one where you could look right into the back of it, but it's kind of looked like this because you could see the front of the trailer. It's kind of dark, depending on where you were working, but come down this ladder and you got your tools and shit laying around down in here. Here I'm welding on this area over here. But you got all these hoses and lines and stuff going inside. And it's like I said, you're wearing leather clothes, a respirator, earphones, you know, like shooting grade ear protectors, and safety glasses, sometimes a shield depending if you're grinding in there, and a respirator, leather clothes, tops and bottoms, and safety shoes, gloves. It was really a trip. And of course, the first time you go down inside it, somebody you know, has to get up there and start pulling your ladder out, like they're going to close the lid on you. You know, that's like a part of the initiation day. But yeah, I like that one. That's a cool little painting. Anyway, enough about that. That's job number 8. We're really cruising right along. It's going to be wild to hit 10 because I'm going to be like, wow, that's 1/5 of the jobs, you know. But that's still 2 weeks away. ARTEC is next week. Giving you a heads up. That's a good one, though. You don't want to miss that. But today, I got some breaking news, man. You're not going to believe this. Okay, so, you know, I'm always talking about the farm, about getting a farm in Portugal, a cherry farm, and blah, 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 blah. Well, I did it. I bought it. It's mine. I own a farm in Portugal. I know. I can't even believe it myself. It started on Monday, and like I said, by Wednesday or Thursday, the deal was completely done. Thanks to Joseph and Andre and Julio, my attorney, yeah, they all made it happen. farmerforfun.com. Check out his website and his YouTube channel. And you ready? This is going to blow your mind. There it is. Look at that little stone house, baby. Yeah. This wild lavender up here. These are terraces on this side. And on the other side of the road back here, I got like a couple acres or 1.5 acres of forestry back there. Now, 50 years ago, people were living there. And in fact, the woman, I'm not sure if the husband's still alive, but the woman that owned it told Joseph that she remembered being there as a little girl picking grapes to make wine. But they had, I don't know how much land they had then, but I'm assuming that they lived in that house, and I'm also assuming that this was because of Salazar, the dictator, that these farms were abandoned and people left the farms and moved into the cities because they weren't helping farmers at all. And like now they have all kinds of subsidies. Even I'll get paid subsidies for farming the land. And you get like extra money for every head of animals that you have. But this part here is ready to be planted with cherries. I mean, it's going to need to get mowed down and stuff like that. And I have to turn the power on. There's electricity right at the at the gate, literally right at the door. So I just have to pay to have them run in a box. And then the first thing I'll do after that is hook up a pump, electric pump. It's got a well on the land as well. And I'll have the irrigation ready. I won't have to worry about irrigation, watering the trees until May, because we're coming into the rainy season now and the cooler time of fall and winter. But as soon as it starts getting hot, those little cherry trees will die if they're not getting watered. So the first thing I'm going to do is hook up a pump and have an irrigation put in there. But yeah, I kept waffling. I kept going back and forth. Do I want one with a stone ruin? Do I want one with a river? Do I want one with a pond? Do I just want straight land, no house? Do I want a house that's ready to move into? I must have looked at, I don't know, dozens of different properties. I've watched every one of Joseph's YouTubes. But something about restoring one of these stone houses. I mean, the granite blocks are like this thick. I don't even know how they built them. It's just, and they're just, when you look down the side of the wall, it's just straight as an arrow. I'll put the link for the video in so you can check it out. I just fell in love with it. The more I learned about it, like I said, that forested area on the other side, Andre says that he could see some olive trees back up in there and still some grapevines like growing up into the trees. So these people literally just walked away from farms. That's how bad it was with the dictator, with Salazar. That's why, you know, I'm concerned about our country falling into a dictatorship, because we're not that far away from it. Won't get as political today as I usually do, but we need to really stand up and speak out, because we're not headed in a good direction. We've seen this movie before, okay? It doesn't end well. We have a chance to stop it before it turns into, you know, Auschwitz. And we need to love on people and take care of people, not send people send people to some country they never even been to. I mean, who would do something like that to another human being? Deport somebody to a country that they've never even lived in. I mean, that's really dark. Separating kids from their family. Who does that, you know? Not the America I grew up in, but that's where we are today. So anyway, other countries have faced the same problem. Like I said, 1 in 10 people was addicted to heroin back in the year 2000. And it was bad. The economy sucked. They were recovering from having this dictator for 50 or 60 years. They had Salazar. And people just abandoned their farms because they couldn't make a living. We're at 22 minutes right now, so I'm going to wrap this up. Again, please get a copy of Amendment 21-A. I remember now I can put a link in it, so it'll take you right to the page on Amazon, and you can buy a copy. Please read it. It's about ending the war on drugs, ending prohibition. Okay, we don't need to have prohibition. People are going to do drugs. There's nothing we can do to stop them. And we might as well end the crime that goes with prohibition, because you can't have a prohibition on anything that doesn't turn into criminal activity. Okay, just by the nature of, by making something illegal. It's like they say, when guns are outlawed, only outlaws will have guns. Same thing with dope. When dope's outlawed, only outlaws will have dope, because you become an outlaw when you step into that business or start using it. Anyway, we don't need that. We don't need to do that to people. We could put people to college for less than it costs to put them in prison. So, big news this week is the farm. I will tell you more details about it. It's near the small city of Fundão or Castelo Branco. not too far from the Spanish border, inland, about equidistant from Porto and Lisbon. So it's east of both of those cities. It's east of the coast, almost to the border of Spain. And that's the breadbasket of Portugal. That's where everything is grown. And I'm just on the south side of the Garduna Mountains. So still good cherry growing area, but a little bit warmer than on the north side of the Garduna Mountains. Cherries like to have so many hours of cold every winter. And luckily they'll get just enough cold where I am, but it's actually a little bit warmer and nicer, pleasant, and for wimps like me that don't like the cold, it's a little bit warmer than on the north side of the Gardunas. Probably not as good for cherries, but good enough. Okay, and but I'll also be able to grow everything else there year round. Probably put some hoop houses in to make it even easier. And I'm gonna, on the far side, the forestry side, I'm gonna start clearing that. I believe it's terraces, but Joseph thinks it's flat land. We'll see. It's they haven't walked to the very top of it yet. So I'm gonna go over in November. My birthday is November 17th. So guess what festival's going on then? The Mushroom Festival. And remember I told you I never had a wild mushroom in my life? I grew up, everybody was afraid of picking mushrooms. Well, everybody in Europe's been picking mushrooms for a long time. There's just a couple that you can't eat. Bad results if you do. I hope you're as excited for me as I am. Yeah, this is a lifelong dream. I'll be able to, Travels with Carl just went international this week. So I'm going to be filming some of these episodes from Portugal. Probably like a month and a half from now. I'll be there. Yeah. I have 90 days to pay for it. So I have to send a 10% deposit, and then I pay for the attorney when I get over there. But I'll just go for a couple weeks this time. Visit Porto and Lisbon, because I haven't even been to Portugal yet. And then I'll spend the rest of the time over there with Joseph and Andre and their families and the attorney, open a bank account, get my NIF number, and pay off the farm, man. 20,000 euros cash on the barrelhead. And it's 3/4 of a hectare. So it's about 3 acres, I think, and granite stone house. So like I said, it's a lot of trade-offs. You want to have this, you want to have that. I changed my mind a million times, but I'm really happy with it. I just think it's beautiful, and I'm going to turn that into a 2-story house. And yeah, it's going to be good times in noodle salad. So I'll spend 3 months there, 3 months back here in Washington, 3 months, in Portugal, and 3 months back here or somewhere. But, hopefully Cunard Cruise Lines or Alaska Airlines or United Airlines will sponsor me. Hey, think about it if you're watching. I need some sponsors, okay? And I'm still looking for somebody that knows how to do this YouTube business. I need help. You got to help the brother out. All right, love you guys. Let's travel. Let's ride.